Welcome to Knot Wars, where we pick fishing's best knots in a head-to-head competition to determine which knots you can count on. Each week we tie and test two of the world's strongest fishing knots. The loser goes home. The winner advances to the next round of competition where it faces another tough competitor. Last week, the Miller knot, submitted by Joe Miller of Lakeview, Arkansas, beat the San Diego Jam knot in impressive fashion. In fact, the Miller knot's one of the strongest knots I've ever tied with monofilament, and it works very well with fluorocarbon braid as well. If you missed last week's episode, here's how you tie the Miller knot. Start by running the tag end through the hook eye twice and form a dime-sized loop. Fold the tag line under and around the main line twice, then run the tag end back through the loop, leaving enough line to form a second loop. Now here's where it gets tricky. Insert your right index finger to the top of the loop and roll it toward you one complete turn. See how that double line's on top? Now insert that tag end through the top loop, grab it with your forefinger and thumb, and pull it down. Moisten it with a little saliva and draw tight. That's the Miller knot. Now our challenger this week is called the Fishing Fool knot, and according to at least one unnamed blogger, this knot's going to win it all. Here's how you tie the Fishing Fool. Run the tag end through the hook eye twice, then bring the tag line up the main line before forming a loop with it. Run the tag end through the loop 5 times as shown. Tighten using the tag end first, then slide the knot tight to the hook eye after lubricating with a bit of saliva, of course. That's the Fishing Fool knot. Now fans of Knot Wars will recognize this knot is very similar to the eye crosser knot, which performed very well in last year's competition. But is it as strong as the Miller knot? Let's find out. Well, we've got the trusty knot testing machine already set up. We've got the challenger, the Fishing Fool, here on the left. We've got the reigning champ, the Miller knot, on the right. Let's see which one's strongest. We have a winner, and it's not the Miller knot. I thought this knot was going to go the entire way, but I tell you what, the Fishing Fool is deadly. Did you see how they broke simultaneously, at least almost so? The Fishing Fool performs very well with mono, fluorocarbon, and braid, and best of all, it's easy to tie. That means the Fishing Fool knot moves on to the next round of competition, where it faces the Grinner knot, submitted by North American Fishing Club member Orion On of Santa Fe, New Mexico. It also means we're one step closer to the ultimate competition to see if we can locate a knot that can topple the mighty Palomar, winner of last year's Knot Wars competition. By the way, if you'd like to practice tying the Fishing Fool, the Miller knot, or any of the knots featured on Knot Wars, simply visit fishingclub.com. Knot Wars, because no good fish story ends in a broken knot. Welcome to Knot Wars, where we pick fishing's best knots in a head-to-head competition to determine which knots you can count on. Each week we tie and test two of the world's strongest fishing knots. The loser goes home. The winner advances to the next round of competition where it faces another tough competitor. Last week, the Fishing Fool knocked off the Miller knot in impressive fashion, something I never thought would happen. The Miller knot had dominated for 2 straight weeks. My recommendation, learn to tie the Fishing Fool knot, submitted by an unnamed blogger who claims this knot's going to win it all. He might be right. Here's how you tie the Fishing Fool knot. Start by running the tag end through the hook eye twice, leaving enough line to work with. Then bring the tag line up the main line before forming a loop with it. Run the tag end through the loop 5 times as shown. Tighten using the tag end first, then slide the knot tight to the hook eye after lubricating with a bit of saliva, of course. Now that's the Fishing Fool knot. Fans of Knot Wars may recognize this knot's very similar to the eye crosser knot, which performed very well in last year's competition. Now the challenger this week is called the Grinner knot, and it was submitted by Orion On of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Here's how you tie it. Start by running the tag end through the hook eye, wrap the tag end around the main line 6 times, then bring the tag end around the back of the main line and wrap it around the main line another 6 times. Then pull both the main line and the tag line at the same time, moisten it with a bit of saliva, and draw tight. Now that's the Grinner knot, and it's easy to tie, but can it beat the Fishing Fool? Let's find out. Now we've got the trusty knot testing machine already set up. We've got our reigning champ, the Fishing Fool, on the left. We've got the Grinner knot, our challenger, on the right. Let's see which one's strongest. Well, we have a winner. It's the Fishing Fool. You know, the Grinner knot has done very well, but the Fishing Fool averaged about a pound higher across all three knots. That means the Fishing Fool advances to the next round of competition, where it faces off with the mighty Palomar, winner of last year's Knot Wars competition. This is the ultimate showdown for all the marbles for the Knot Wars Championship. Is the Fishing Fool strong enough to knock off the reigning champ? We'll find out next week. By the way, if you'd like to practice tying the Grinner knot, the Fishing Fool, or any of the knots featured in Knot Wars, simply visit fishingclub.com. Knot Wars, because no good fish story ends in a broken knot. Last week, the Fishing Fool knot knocked off the Grinner knot and earned the opportunity to challenge the mighty Palomar, winner of the last Knot Wars competition in the line to lure category. Now, if you missed last week's episode, here's a refresher course on how to tie the Fishing Fool. Start by running the tag end through the hook eye twice, leaving enough line to work with. Then bring the tag line up the main line before forming a loop with it. Run the tag end through the loop 5 times as shown. Tighten using the tag end first, then slide the knot tight to the hook eye after lubricating with a bit of saliva, of course. Now that's the Fishing Fool, and it's a superb knot. It beats some really, really good knots. Now before we start the showdown, I want to remind you how to tie the Palomar. Start by doubling the line and running it through the hook eye, leaving plenty of line to work with. Holding the standing line, form an overhand knot and pass the hook through the loop. To tighten, pull both the main line and the tag line, moistening first with a bit of saliva. That's the Palomar. Super easy to tie, super strong, and just happens to be my personal favorite. But can it withstand the surging Fishing Fool knot? Let's find out. We've got the trusty knot testing machine already set up. We've got the Fishing Fool here, the challenger on the left. We've got the reigning champ and my personal favorite, the Palomar on the right. Now this is for all the marbles. Whoa, we've got a new Knot Wars champion. The Fishing Fool has beat the Palomar, something I never thought would happen. But I have to admit, the Fishing Fool has been really consistent. It's dynamite with monofluorocarbon and braid, and best of all, it's super easy to tie. Hey, thanks to submissions from across the country, we've been able to tie and test a number of great knots, any of which I'd recommend, including the San Diego Jam, the Miller knot, and of course the Fishing Fool. Keep those submissions coming. Hey, stay tuned for a brand new Knot Wars competition as we start the search for the ultimate loop knot. Oh, and by the way, if you want to practice tying the Palomar, the Fishing Fool, or any of the knots featured in Knot Wars, simply visit fishingclub.com. Knot Wars, because no good fish story ends in a broken knot.